Hello and welcome back to Math 13X. Lesson 26 is about sorting data. This one is going to be about the means. So first of all, I have this information which is people's homework scores and then their overall score. Basically, we're trying to see is there a relationship between doing homework and their overall score. So first of all, start by separating them into two groups. Those with less than 70 on homework and those with at least 70. So this on the screen is a little bit small, so I'm just going to make a bigger copy of it. So here's the data. And I'm just going to get a nice little highlighter. I've got purple. And for those people whose homework is less than 70, I'm going to highlight them purple. So anybody that's got less than a 70, so not including 70, but in the 60s or 50s, etc. for their homework. So let me find some. So there's this person has a 48 on homework. Now, when I get to the question, it's going to be about their overall score. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that person all the way across. And then this one. And I'm not really looking at these. I'm just concentrating on these right here to see which ones are less than 70. And if they are, then I highlight them all the way across. And we've got just a few more to go. And this one is less than 70. This one is not purple because it does have to be less than 70. So equal 70 is not purple, but less than 70 is purple. And looks like we have two more down here at the bottom. And then I just want to go through and double check that I didn't miss anybody that was less than 70. Sometimes I repeat it to myself, less than 70, less than 70. Okay, looks like I've got it. So now I've got the purple ones highlighted. Now if you look at the question, it says test the claim that their overall grade, so it's actually these numbers that I'm going to be typing into the calculator, are the same for the two groups. Now me personally, I just use one color and say these are the purple ones, so that's the ones on the left. These are not highlighted, so that's going to be these people. Or if you want to, you could get a different color and then highlight these yellow and call these yellow. But I'm just going to leave them as purple and blank. Now the important thing here is the question is really about their overall grade. So it needs to be these numbers that I type into the list. So it's these numbers, their overall grade, and only the purple ones right now. So type those into a list. Oh, look, my calculator was waiting for me, got it ready and everything. So just in case you need a refresher, you go to stat and then just choose number 1, and there we are. So now type in these overall scores. And right here is where you might want to fast forward on the video, although it's not going to take very long. Actually, I'm almost done. And a 52. All right, now the other group, the ones with the homework bigger than or equal to 70, I'm going to put those in list 2. So again, it's their overall scores that I'm really concerned with. I only used homework to separate them into the purple and the not purple. So I've got this 93, 90 and 92, a 70, a 92, 73, 82, 94, 97, oops, 94, 74, 81, 93, 79, 87. Sometimes when I say it out loud, it helps me process, like when I made a mistake right there, when I said it, it didn't sound, so anyway, I caught that mistake. Okay, so now we're going to find the mean and standard deviation for each list. So you can just go to stat, over to calculate, use the one variable statistics. It's already set for list 1. Otherwise, you just put second 1 for list 1 and then calculate. And then I can see that is n equals 12 people. Their overall grade in the class, 54.750. And the standard deviation, 16.521. Now let's move on to list number 2. So go to stat, calculate, and now I just need to put second and the number 2. Go down to calculate, and here there's 17 people. Their average, which is a lot higher than the other one, this one is 84.647 compared to 54. 84 is 30 points higher. And then the S is 9.682. All right, that's for this part. Next, test the claim that the overall grades are the same for the two groups. So I'm just going to call this one group number 1 and this one group number 2. So the claim is that the mean for group number 1 equals the mean for group number 2. The H1 cannot have an equals sign, so you cross out the equals sign. And when this is crossed out, that means there's going to be 2 tails. So there's going to be 2 critical values. And then for HO, it's always equals. Now I just need the critical value. And when you're testing claims about a mean, that's going to be a T. So on the calculator, before I do that, I need degrees of freedom. And when you have 2 groups, you look at the 2 ends. Whichever one's smaller, that's what gives you degrees of freedom. So it's going to be 12 minus 1. So the degrees of freedom, 12 minus 1 is 11. And we're using 95% level of confidence, which means there's a total of 5% for these 2 tails. So this is going to be 0.025 and 0.025. Now I can use the calculator to find the critical values. So like I said, this is a T. So if you go to second distribution and then go to number 4, the inverse T, then it's going to say, what is the area? So I'm going to ask it to do this critical value. So I'm going to tell it the area is 0.025. And degrees of freedom is an 11. And then it says, I still need to hit enter. And then it says that it's a negative 2.201. And on the other side, it would be positive 2.201. Now for the test statistic. So go to stat, over to test, and it needs to say 2 samples because we have the 2 groups. And because I'm using the data, I don't want to type this stuff in. I'm just going to tell it use data and use list 1 and list 2. And this comes from the H1 that had the not equals, so that is set up correctly. The pooled should always say no. And then go to calculate. And I just need this number right here, the test statistic. T equals negative 5.624. And this number goes past this number, so this goes to the left. And that means that we did actually prove something. The H sub O is false. The 2 groups are not the same. Did you notice I wrote 1 here instead of 2? So the 2 groups are not the same. So the claim happens to say the same thing, so the claim is false. So I basically just statistically proved that if you don't do well on homework, then you're probably not going to do well in the class. If you do well on homework, then you're probably going to do better in the class. One last thing while we're here, create the confidence interval for the overall mean, or the mean overall grade, for each group. And because I already have the information in the calculator, this goes very fast. You just go to Stat and then Tests and go down to number 8 for the t-interval. And if you want to type the mean and standard deviation in, you'd use Stats, but I don't want to, so I'm just going to tell it use data with list 1, and we're going to use 95% level of confidence. So that says for people with less than 70 on the homework, then their overall grade would be somewhere between 44.253 and 65.247. And then this is if their homework is less than 70, that's this group. All right, now for the other group. Stat, go over to Tests, go down to number 8, the t-interval. Just tell it to use list 2, so put second 2. And then their overall grade is going to be somewhere between 79.669 and an 89.625. And this is for the people where their homework is bigger than or equal to 70. And if you compare the two intervals, there's a huge difference. So there definitely is a difference. So this is just more confirmation of what we proved over here.